Oh, yeah, well, that happens frequently. Yeah, I'm starting to feel like a recap tired.
She is.
So, anything in your life slowed down yet, or?
Never sail.
Did you notice that stench on the golf course last Thursday?
By the clubhouse, you saw.
I stunk so bad.
Oh, I shot 48 with 2 triple bogeys.
Well, I had two double bogeys and barely came in at a 49. The week before I had a 44, which is good for me. But I don't play that often.
I'd take it any day.
Yeah. But
Bogeys didn't cost you the British Open.
Yeah.
Like the last 2 holes on that 3rd round for speed.
It cost a few boys out on the golf course Sunday in the championship, though. 4-stroke lead going in and blowing. Brent Todd.
oh, out of church. Who was in the league? Greg doesn't it?
No, Brent. Yeah.
Oh, Brent.
Rossi or Wolfie or something like that. We'll see.
Well, it's good sound. We gotta keep going here. As opposed to just like the customer service person. Regular meeting, Clear Lake City Council of Monday, July 19th, 2021 shall come to order. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Motion to approve the agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Dana, seconded by Gary. We approve the agenda. Is there any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same. Motion carries. To the consent agenda, you have a copy of the minutes of July 6, 2021, and we need approval of the bills and claims, of which you also have a copy. Motion, please.
So made.
Second.
Moved by Mike, seconded by Mark, that we approve the consent agenda. Is there any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same. Motion carries. Now is the time and place for anyone in the audience who wishes to address the council on any items that are not on the agenda. Please approach the podium, state your name first and last, and give your address so the clerk can properly enter the minutes. Not a discussion time nor a question and answer time, and you have 3 to 5 minutes. Hearing, we'll move on to unfinished business, of which there is none this evening. We'll move directly to 6, new business, 6A, 2020, East Main Avenue Street Reconstruction and Bike Lane Extension Project. Intro, Mr. Flory. Welcome, Scott.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. Council, you should have all got a copy of this, so I don't know if you have it with you this evening or not, but just final plat and schedule of assessments for the 2020 East Main Avenue Street Reconstruction and Bike Lane Extension Improvement Project. If you recall from the previous meeting, I had indicated that the project engineer had filed a certificate of completion with the city clerk. That was done on June 30th of 2021, indicating that all the work on the project had been completed in compliance with the previously approved project plans and specifications, form of contract. Then at that meeting on July 6th, the council had began the process to close out the project and initiate the special assessment proceedings. Just as a reminder, the final value of construction work completed on the project was $2,037,867.43. That was $180,500 less than the original contract amount, so a little over 8% less than what the original contract amount was. The indirect costs, so by that, of course, we're talking engineering, legal, and administrative costs on the project, were $251,180.62, so about 12% of the total project cost. The amount that will be specially assessed against the benefited properties is $392,010.69. That's about 17% of the total cost of the project. And the total project cost, so if we add the engineering, legal, and administrative costs along with the engineering and construction, we're at just under $2.3 million for the project. So again, tonight, the council will consider the resolution adopting the final plat and levying the schedule of assessments. In terms of the schedule, then, the clerk will file a copy of the final plat and schedule that you have this evening with the county treasurer on July 21st. First publication of the final assessment notice will be published in the paper on July 28th, and that's the notice, of course, that requires 2 consecutive publications on the same day of the week. So the next publication will be made on August 4th. And then, if you recall from past projects, the property owners have 30 days from then to make the payments to the city, or the clerk then certifies the amounts uncollected at that point to the county treasurer. So anticipate that that will happen on or about September 10th. So I don't have anything further in terms of any introductory remarks. Jason's going to review the final plat and schedule with you, but if anyone has any questions, I'd be happy to answer those.
Council, any questions for Scott?
So the letters will actually go out after tonight's meeting?
Right, yep.
Any other questions for Scott? Thank you, Scott. Review of final plat and schedule of assessments. This is Jason Petersburg, Beanstra and Kim. Welcome, Jason.
Thank you, Mayor. Council, you should have received a copy of the final assessment plat and schedule for this project. As a reminder, the council approved the resolution of necessity following the public hearing at its February 3rd, 2020 meeting. At that time, we had presented preliminary assessments to the benefited property owners, and the preliminary assessments are calculated using estimated costs for the paving and estimated costs and quantities for the sewer and water services. The preliminary assessment amount is the maximum amount that can be assessed to the property owners. Final assessments can be less than the preliminary, but by law, they cannot be more. The final assessments have been calculated using the actual unit prices bid by the contractor for the project, as well as the actual quantities complete. Furthermore, there are properties that have new owners. They've traded hands since this project has started, so the assessment schedule has been updated accordingly with the new property owner information in there. At the bottom of page 6-7, there's a good summary of the assessed cost. Just over $300,000 is in the street paving itself. The city assesses for a 31-foot wide, 6-inch thick equivalent concrete pavement, and that is distributed amongst the benefited property owners with the proportional benefits curve. And then items 2 through 7, the driveway upgrades, sidewalk improvements, water services, sanitary sewer services, storm sewer services, and subdrain services, those are all direct assessment. Each property owner pays for what they receive. If they had defective sidewalk, they paid for the replacement of the defective sidewalk. For the water and sewer services, if their existing services were not up to code, they're paying for their new service. If they were discovered to be up to code, there is no cost to the property owners at the final assessment phase. The storm sewer service, we had one property owner requested a line stubbed into his property, so he is assessed for that cost. And the subdrain services, those were for the sump pump. Every property that had a sump pump received a subdrain service. So overall, about $112,000 of the total assessed cost is the direct assessments, which is the improvements that directly benefit a property. Page 6-8 includes the total cost the city pays relative to the portion that the property owners are responsible for. We compared the preliminary assessment and final assessment costs on this page. The street assessment, the final cost is actually greater than the preliminary. Reason being is the actual price bid for the concrete paving was greater than what our preliminary estimate included. And then the direct assessments actually went down primarily because there's fewer sewer and water services that were assessed to the property owners. Some of those were found to be in compliance with the city's code. So the total amount assessed is $392,010.69, which is just over 17% of the overall project cost. Tonight's request is for council approval of the resolution adopting and levying the final schedule of assessments. Any questions on the final assessment plat and schedule?
Council, any questions for Jason?
Yep. Hopefully some easy ones here. Got a couple of them. It seems to me the sidewalk improvements were a relatively low figure here, considering there were at least 4 blocks of sidewalks put down. So how many properties actually had defective, and if you don't know, if you...
The top of my head,
Yeah.
but before the project started, before we did preliminary assessments, we walked it, marked all the defective panels, counted those up for each
Okay.
property owners, is how we figured that.
Right, and, but I guess the point I'm trying to make here is the vast majority of properties ended up with a new sidewalk at no additional cost to themselves.
Correct. If they
Okay.
had a sidewalk that met city code, they did not
Yeah.
have to pay for the new sidewalk.
Yeah, and are most of them 5-foot sidewalks?
Correct. The new ones are 5 foot with the exception of some areas by some retaining walls.
Right,
We had to
right.
narrow, or a few areas we actually made it a little wider.
Yeah, okay, so good. Big improvement in my mind, but, okay, secondly, you mentioned February of 2020, the meeting where the
Public hearing.
the public hearing and the assessment concept was revealed, and people got a preliminary idea of what might be coming their way. As I recall, the process actually started a few months earlier than that in terms of notifying people of what might be coming in terms of a project. Can you update me on the history of that a little bit?
I would say 6 months prior to that, more than likely, is when we had a public information meeting.
Right,
Reviewed
right.
the project with the property owners, not the assessments. We didn't review the assessments at that.
Right, no, but they probably were aware that there would be assessments coming.
There would be, but we didn't have the amounts.
Yeah, and no one's going to be happy about getting these letters, but I'm just trying to reiterate the concept that some of this information's been floating out there for quite some time, and I think based on some earlier projects, we learned and tried to get additional public information out to people that will be impacted by these kind of projects, and I'm sure we will do the same with the last several blocks coming up.
Yes.
Right. I think probably by the time, maybe Mike to address that, by the time the assessment letters go out, which I think we're thinking around that first part of August, it'll probably be pretty close to 2 years that there have been some awareness about the assessments on the project by the time the final assessment letters go out.
Okay. Anyway, I'm like I say, now it isn't going to be like a real thrilling thing to get this letter, but I mean, the concept has been floating around out there for a while.
Yep.
Council, any other questions for Jason? Thank you, Jason. Therefore, entertain a motion to approve Resolution 2130, a resolution adopting and levying final schedule of assessments and providing for the payment thereof for the 2020 East Main Avenue Street reconstruction and bike lane extension project. Motion, please.
So move.
Moved by Gary, seconded by Bennett, that we approve Resolution 2130. Is there any discussion? Roll call, Mark,
Yes.
Mike,
Yes.
Gary,
Yes.
Bennett,
Yes.
and Dana.
Yes.
5-0. Resolution 2130 is duly adopted. 6B, purchase of a 2021 John Deere 325G track skid loader and a 10-foot Vernig V-plow. Intro, Mr. Flory.
Thank you, Mayor. A number of items here in your packet. The Public Works Director is going to review the recommendation here with you in a moment, but just in the way of some introductory background comments, if you recall from budget preparation, we had allocated $81,200 towards the replacement of the city's existing 2001 K75 XT rubber tire skid steer loader for the Public Works Department. That machine has approximately 2,300 hours on it. that. So, not a ton of time for a machine that's a 2001, but it doesn't have an enclosed cab or high flow system to accommodate certain attachments like the snowplow attachment that we're talking about adding with this piece of equipment as well. So, Public Works Director had solicited competitive quotes for a new machine. We got bids from 6 different vendors. 4 machines met the specifications or exceeded the specifications stipulated in the RFP. So we're recommending the purchase of a John Deere 325G for a total of $66,000, not including the snowplow attachment that the mayor just mentioned here a moment ago. That machine, this new machine, the skid loader, will also be something that we can use to pull the city beach cleaner. So down at City Beach, do our beach cleaning activities there under the watershed coordinator position. So going to be very useful to us there as well. We'll then, with our K75 XT, either sell that outright privately or list it through the GovDeals website. That we haven't totally decided yet, but we think we can do better than what the trade allotment that was quoted by the dealers was for the machine, and we're anticipating about a 3 to 5 week delivery time for the machine. So that's all I've got in terms of background. Unless anyone has any questions, Jeremy can review the recommendation.
Questions for Scott, Council? Thank you, Scott. Recommendation to award purchase, Jeremy Kornberg, Public Works Director. Welcome, Jeremy.
Thank you, Council, Mayor. Scott did a pretty good job of summarizing there. So we received, or we demoed 5 different machines and ended up accepting bids from, actually we demoed six units. Got bids from all 6, plus a machine that we didn't actually demo. But after kind of our demonstrations, our guys using them, and then we got the bids back, we narrowed that down to kind of our top 3 machines based on performance and the RFP, the requirements that we had put forward. Those bids came down, or those 3 machines were the Case, the Cat, and a John Deere. We received bids from Titan Machinery and Mason City Red Power for the same Case track unit. We received a bid from Ziegler Cat for another piece of equipment, and then a bid from Murphy Tractor Equipment out of Waterloo for the John Deere. After reviewing bids and discussing everything is based on our usage of the machines, we determined the best overall bid would be the John Deere 325G. There's some pictures and some stuff there in the packet. It was a pretty good bid. I think it ranked in our top 2 when we were demonstrating them. So it met all of our qualifications. Also comes with a 60-month, 200-hour comprehensive warranty. So that's pretty much anything inside that unit for 60 months. With the amount of usage we currently have, we should hit the 60 month before we hit the 2,000 hours. Hopefully with the new machine, we'll get a lot more usage. I think our current machine only has 2,300 hours, and it's about 20 years old. But this new machine will have an enclosed cab, climate control, so heat, air conditioning. It'll also come with high flow hydraulics, which will allow us to either purchase or rent a numerous amount of attachments. So one thing we currently could use that for, and we'd probably start out with renting, is a lot of ditch grubbing. So going into the ditches, clearing all that growth out of there. Currently we do it by hand. It's a dangerous, long job. It's just not a good, stable location with a track loader. Something like this will, cut that time in half and allow us to do it a lot more often. So, and then, like Scott mentioned, the beach, as well as the other main item would be snow removal. So as with this, we got bids for a Vernig 10-foot V-plow, and I'll cover that here in a second. So based on that, we went to the Murphy Tractor John Deere 325G, so that's what I would recommend for purchase. We talked to all the vendors, and we did get a bid from Cat Ziegler for that Vernig plow for $4,800, or just over $4,800. They said they'd honor that bid as a standalone item. So I'll be recommending to go forward with the purchase of that attachment from them. Altogether, it comes to about $71,000, give or take a few dollars, so that's what's about $10,000 under budget on those two items that were bid together. We did talk to John Deere. I think they have one available anytime, so as soon as we can get our case sold or rid of, they pretty much have something available for us. They also said if they had trouble getting it here, he would have a rental to use for us free of charge until they can get that in here. So I think the lead time on the V plow is a little bit longer, but it should be here. We could get it here probably in October sometime, so we'll be all ready for snow removal and everything. So with that, I don't think anything else to cover, but I'm open for any questions or anything from you.
Perhaps I missed that, Jeremy, but did you, in that 71,000 or approximately 71,000, did you take the deduct of 8,000 for a trade-in or not?
No.
Okay,
No,
so
that's
that,
just
that's a
the cost of
possibility.
the skid loader and the cost of the V plow. So anything we get back on trade, we'll bring that down.
The snow removal operations, maybe describe, I know we talked about the budget, but just kind of how you see that, this piece of equipment being used to supplement the snowplow operations.
Sure. So we currently do all of our alley operations with a 1-ton pickup with I think it's a 9-foot V plow or straight blade plow on there. As you know, our alleys are pretty tight. This we feel, will give us the opportunity to do these a little bit quicker. Clean up coming out of an alley with a straight plow is a bit difficult, especially if the roads have been cleaned already. It leaves a lot of snow behind. So with using a skid loader with a V plow, when we get to the end of those alleys, we can V it forward, scoop it to the side, push it up in a pile, and move along down the road. We also have quite a few alleys where you get to the end of the alley and there's nowhere to go. You pile it, and then you got to back out in the dark in a 1-ton with about 11 feet of room and a 10-foot plow. So it gets a little sketchy. But with this, be able to push up, lift up, be able to spin around and move back out. The other thing is with the alleys, they do get soft, and with a straight plow, when you got it angled one way or the other, if you ever catch any soft rock, it can shoot you sideways without any notice. And I know in the past year we have hit a fence or two. No severe damage, but there's not a whole lot that can stop you. Track loader does go a little slower through the alleys, but it is also a lot more controllable. So overall, it should increase our efficiency going through those alleys and getting everything cleaned up. It'll also be another piece of equipment that we can use if we ever have to send somebody out to clean up certain parts of a parking lot that the big loaders can't get into, stuff like that. So it just makes it a lot more versatile.
Any other questions for Jeremy? Thank you, Jeremy. Therefore, entertain a motion to award purchase of the 2021 John Deere 325G track skid loader and the 10-foot Vernig V plow and the John Deere 325G 2021 will go to the Murphy Tractor and Equipment Company out of Waterloo, Iowa, in the amount of $66,000. And the Vernig SBV 120 snowplow bid of $4,815 will go to Ziegler Cat of Mason City, Iowa. Motion, please.
So offered.
Second.
Moved by Mike, seconded by Dana, that we approve the purchase of both the John D. 325G track skid loader and the 10-foot Vernig V plow. Is there any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same. Motion carries. Thank you. 6C, Assistant to Wellness Center Director Position Description and Review. Adam Long, Wellness Center Executive Director. Welcome, Adam.
Thank you, Mayor, Council. Hope you all are well. Not a lot of changes to the review since we were here last time. Kind of our plan is to get this kind of communicated to the Wellness Committee on Monday. We have our Wellness Committee board meeting on Monday. Want to make sure everything looks good with them before we go ahead and post it that afternoon. We're thinking about probably keeping it open until about the 27th of August. And you know, we ended up getting that announcement page, so that kind of that changed a little bit. I designed this announcement packet. I kind of rode Scott's coattails on this one. This is kind of what it was for the executive director, and I really appreciated all the information that was in this packet when I was able to go online and see all the information about the town, the community, then obviously get a little bit more information now about the wellness center. So I kind of had to ride on his coattails for that one. So that announcement will be going out as well after we get done with the wellness committee. Again, going to keep this opening till around the 27th of August. Really hoping to get a start date around October 4th is when we're looking to get it started. Again, not a lot of changes to the original packet. If you have any questions, I'm here to answer any of those for you.
I guess I've got one. I think I know the answer, but this is a salaried position as opposed to an hourly.
No, it's an hourly.
It's an
position.
hour,
Yep.
okay. I noticed it's based on a 40-hour week.
Yep.
But, so it also suggests that the evening and weekend hours, would that be their regular hourly commitment, but just knock off part of their 40 hours?
That's probably how we work it, yep.
Okay, all right. Just thought I'd check in that as opposed to racking up overtime.
Yep.
and-
Absolutely.
All
Yeah.
right.
This position's going to be, their hours are going to be a little bit awkward based on the events and based on the parks and
Sure,
Rec.
no, I coached for 150 million years, so I understand the concept.
Yeah, you know exactly what it is.
Adam, who all will be interviewing the applicants?
Wellness committee, yep. Wellness committee, Scott and myself, and then the wellness committee.
And this person will be housed at the Wellness Center.
Absolutely, yep, absolutely.
Any other questions? Thank you, Adam. Therefore, I'll entertain a motion to approve the position description of the Wellness Center, of the Assistant to the Wellness Center Director position. Motion, please.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Bennett, seconded by Dana, that we approve the position description for the Assistant to the Wellness Center Director position. Is there any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same. Motion carries. Thank you. 6D, purchase of indoor playground equipment for the Wellness Center. Review, Adam.
Again, not a lot of changes here, guys. Got another bid on the project. Was a little bit lower, but when we saw the diagrams and kind of the equipment that they were going to have, wasn't even on the same ballpark. So Playtime is a very, very reputable company. We like all of the equipment that they were able to customize for us. Really hard to get some other bids too, to be honest with you, and I think it's more so because of it's hard to get some of the product in with lead times and things of that nature. But we were able to get another bid. Weren't crazy about how it looked, especially compared to the one that we have that's in your packet there. Again, a little bit more custom items than this one. And I'm going to go over the construction review with you guys when I go over my report in a little while. But this is going to be the first section that you see when you walk in. So I think that's very, very important for it to be kind of that wow factor that we want to see. And again, from the pictures, you can see that wow factor. It's going to be a good space. It's definitely going to get people's attention right when they walk into that facility. And again, from all of the data that we were able to get, you know, the indoor playground was something that I think was very, very important to our community and to our parents. And it'll be a great resource or a great asset for our kids to be able to have a place to play. Lead times right now, about 12 weeks on material, and it's going to be about a 2 to 3 week install, which they'll probably be able to get us in on their schedule. They will be able to get us on the schedule in October. Any other questions on this? Again, not a lot has changed since my initial review.
This stuff looks like it's going to hold together and be durable for many years.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, basically, when my kids were young, there weren't a lot of indoor playgrounds around, but as the grandkids came along, they got to be more frequent in a variety of places, and it looks like they're made of materials that, you know, are not, they're easy to take care of and maintain, and they last you for a long time. So that to me, that looks like a big positive.
Absolutely. And safe on top of that too, which is good. And again, we talked a little bit last time, I don't want to beat a dead horse, but we talked a little bit about getting a couple of those fogging machines to be able to wipe down and get all those pieces cleaned every night.
So Adam, the correct amount, total amount is $135,486
Yes, sir.
and 86 cents.
Sir.
Okay. Council, any further questions for Adam? Thank you, Adam.
Council.
Therefore, I'll entertain a motion to approve the indoor playground equipment for the Wellness Center in the amount of $135,486.86. Motion, please. Moved by Mark, seconded by Mike, that we approve the purchase of the indoor playground equipment. Is there any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All same. Motion carries. Thank you. Chief, report? Council, we have copies from Chief of comprehensive one from January through June of 2021. And we have council report for today, July 19th, that included the July 4th celebration as well. Do any of you have any questions for Chief?
I don't have a question, but I would like to, being a member of the Noon Lions Club, compliment the police help on setting up the course for the drive-up. It just worked the smoothest it's ever worked. The time of waiting in line for the people in the drive-up was minimalized dramatically, and we didn't have all kinds of people trying to jump the line on 2nd Avenue and 3rd Avenue, and I think it was Captain Colby down there directing traffic, and he kind of acted like the old street cop in a 50s movie, and he kept him going in the right direction. So anyway, I thought that was worth mentioning. Thank you.
I would just also mention, since Councilmember Callahan brought up the chicken barbecue, that I took a direct blast from him as he was running the sprayer right in the face. So maybe he was watching the drive-up line at that time, but he was waving that wand around and got me right in the face. So it was, never put an eye out.
I've got all kinds of things I could rebuttal on that, but I'll just wait till later.
Any other questions for Chief? Thanks, Chief. Public Works Director's Report, Jeremy Kornberg.
Thank you, Mayor, Council. Just a couple things. If you've noticed, we've had some issues here with our main avenue and 8th Street traffic light. We had a couple of the in-ground loops essentially go bad. The wires have frayed, and a couple of the amplifiers that they use to amplify that signal to the control unit have gone bad, and there's no real good way to replace that or I guess retrofit that. So we have worked with the Traffic and Transportation Products, Jim Connors. They do all the work on our equipment. He was up here last week, and we went over a few things. And he has recommended to go forward with a single camera system, which will essentially look at all 4 directions. It's just a single camera unit that'll mount up on top. It connects and is compatible with everything else in the cabinet, so there won't be anything else needed besides a little bit of install work on our part. So we talked with him, and we're going to move forward with that item. Cost for something like this obviously was not a budgeted item because it kind of came up out of nowhere. So it'll be something that we'll amend for in the here this winter when we start to go through an amending process. But that camera system with his labor and obviously ours is going to come right over $15,000. It's about $15,300 for the single camera unit and install. But like I said, there's no way to fix what's currently there. So if you have any questions on that before I move forward with anything else.
mention that that will have to be a budget adjustment, so when we start going through the budget in the fall, we'll have to add that as a budget amendment to that. But Jeremy might mention just in terms of how that loop detector system works. So we, in the past, we put that out in our city newsletter that kind of explains what those diamond-shaped looking things in the pavement look like when you approach there, but there's that metal in there that's kind of triggered by when the cars roll over the top of it, and it triggers the timing on that, but it's kind of the precursor, if you will, to the video detection. There's a number of other things. We've got the puck system that we've used at some other locations, but this is kind of the original devices that were used for traffic loops and detectors and that. So
Yeah, it's, so there's, for the east and westbound traffic, there's, on each intersection, there's 2 loops. So it's an in-ground cable that connects to our control unit. So anytime something goes over, it senses that movement, sends a signal to the controller that there's a car there. Essentially, that intersection is set up so north-south traffic along 8th Street should go with a green light unless something triggers that loop. Well, right now with the damaged loop, it goes into a default, so it's always going to send in a call. So instead of just having constant traffic going down North 8th or down 8th, at random times it'll just be red, and that's not how those are set up. Same thing, we were having issues at first because one of the pucks somehow got eliminated from the system. Again, it goes into default and just constantly puts in a call, so then you start getting random calls coming from that east-west traffic, which you don't want. We've got that one fixed without any real work, but this one, there's no really way to work around it. It's such an old system, the parts aren't even there to get. So if we were, I mean, it's just not a good situation. It's time to upgrade it, really. So going with a single camera unit is probably the most cost effective way, rather than putting on multiple cameras to get that intersection to work. So the order says delivery of the products within 30 to 45 days. So within a month, we should have the product delivered, and then we'll schedule a time with Jim to come up and get everything installed. So I think we've determined currently just kind of let it run as it is. If we have any big issues or an event, something like that, we could always put it into 4-way flash if it's causing any issues. But I don't think we've had any huge complaints or anything yet, just a few inconvenience at times. So
those loops are at all 4 streets coming in?
nope, just on just on east-west.
Okay.
on Main.
On Main?
North 8th Street section, there is nothing there. It only would take a call if somebody comes up to that intersection from the east or the west.
So camera-wise, just one?
One camera, it's like a fisheye camera, essentially, kind of they call it, so it'll look all 4 directions. So
Cool. Any other questions for Jeremy?
the other option, or the other item is last week, the Everybody Plays playground equipment all got delivered. So we got that all unloaded and stored last week. A lot of equipment. There's about 2 full 53-foot trucks full of equipment. So, but yeah, that delivered. Other than that, I don't really have anything else. Yep, we put that into the Woodford building, locked it up. So, other than that, I don't think I have any other updates unless you have any questions.
When do the sheds come down?
Which sheds?
County sheds.
That one probably to take advantage of some, right now, obviously, the contractor's schedules are going to be tight, but we're probably looking at maybe a spring demo on that, or winter, time frame. So we're ready to go with the playground in the late spring.
I've communicated with Alliant to be able to get utilities disconnected, so they'll get electric and gas knocked out of there. I think they're going to remove the 2 large poles that are currently in the lot, so whenever we do put something back, it can go underground. And then I think we'll probably do some weed eating out there, just to kind of knock some of them weeds down where they're growing, but just general maintenance, kind of keep it looking as best as it can. So
Do some environmental stuff, asbestos and those kinds of things, but I think probably be a real nice project for a winter demo. Should get some good interest in contractors there, so.
got a few ask about what we were doing with it, so they know.
You know, we need to recognize Public Works with regard to the streets, because moving all those barricades and, you know, fine job there, as well as the
Yeah,
officers.
no, we communicate good with PD, getting those maps kind of as get them. So, so we get all the right directions and road closures down. So, yeah, it's a work in progress, but it seems to be getting pretty, running pretty smooth. So.
And maybe just the last item, that water main project there at, by the new distillery.
Sure, yeah, so I think they got the water main bored in the one section, and they were starting backfill today. I think they plan on doing the disconnect tomorrow on the old water line, and then they will be backfilling and trying to pour Wednesday. The way it looks, we'll be able to get at least one lane open once they get their underground worked and backfilled. They'll be able to open it up the north side. So they'll just put a stop sign there with a please yield or alternate type situation. So it won't be completely shut down for the whole figure. So hopefully Wednesday they'll be able to get it backfilled and at least one lane open.
Drive through to both banks is open, so
Yep,
that's.
drive-throughs open, alleys open, so they
Right.
were able to keep it open that far.
Right. Thanks,
Yeah, thank
Jeremy,
you.
appreciate it. Wellness Center Director Report, review a concept layout of cardio and weight equipment. Adam?
Well, maybe before Adam jumps in there, I'll just give you a little heads up. He's going to go through a fly-through video that kind of lays out where the cardio and weight equipment would be proposed for the new wellness center. But you know, this is something that, again, we'll probably be bringing back at the next council meeting for some more formal action. But I wanted him to kind of review with you what he's been doing, which is, I think, really good work in negotiating equipment leases and purchase prices with some of the vendors that we're looking at for both cardio and weight equipment. But I think this fly-through is pretty cool. So.
this on the east side of the building?
Yes.
Adam, will that floor be padded?
Yeah, so again, on the floor, just got back with Scott today. It's going to be definitely a floor. I can't remember exactly how thick he told me it's going to be. For one, it's not going to be that color. It's going to be a grayish color, made for wear and tear, beat up with weights and things like that. It's a weight room fitness type of floor. Be a little bit different than what we have in the aerobics room type of area. The flooring that we have on the fitness center will actually withstand dumbbells being dropped, weights being dropped, and things of that nature. Because again, as much as we try to prevent that, in gyms it's going to happen. You know what I mean? So that's just kind of an overview. I want to talk to you guys a little bit too about the construction review. Had a construction meeting. Didn't get a ton out of that meeting. Again, I think a lot of you guys know how those meetings kind of go. I actually wanted to get a little bit more proactive, so I got with Scott over at Atura, and he took me through a walkthrough today. First walkthrough, I was on my interview 2 months ago, and the amount of progress they've made in 2 months is really, really, really cool. Cool to see. I was able to get a lot better perspective of size, of just stature of what that facility is going to look like walking into it. Me and him, as we were walking out, I don't know if the community understands what type of facility this will have the potential to be, but it's pretty exciting just because of all the ones that I've been able to go visit and sit down and tour. I think ours, again, is going to be on another level. I know I said that last meeting, but I can't. Maybe I get more excited about things than the community, but I know if this is brought into our community, I don't think how you cannot be excited for it. So upstairs tracks been poured. The fitness areas, roughed in for electrical. Downstairs, all the rooms are framed, so we can kind of see where the aerobics rooms are going to be, where the indoor playground is going to be. Locker rooms are all plumbed, roughed in for plumbing. They're all set, and then they have not they haven't poured the floor in the field house for the track yet, but I think that's on the docket next. So again, lots and lots of progress, and really a sight to see when you walk through that. If you guys ever get a chance, or if you guys want to go over there, please give me a holler, and we'll get you over there so you can take a peek, because it's pretty cool. My process for the bids, again, nothing earth-shattering. I've been doing this a long time, so I have quite a few connections in this type of field. So I have my guys, obviously, that I go through and get some bids for. So again, when you get a bid from somebody like Johnson, somebody like Life Fitness, which is in your packet too, another that's just a blueprint kind of a facility in there, so you can kind of get a different perspective. But obviously they're going to throw in everything they can at you when they are giving you bids for their equipment and showing you all the fancy pictures. So I'll go item by item, obviously, and I know everything that we need, things that we don't need, things that I can get cheaper at other places, and that's how kind of we're doing the process right now. So right now I'm just getting all of those kind of ironed out from each company that we're going to utilize, making sure that we're getting exactly what we need, but at the same token getting the highest quality possible. And then other than that, like Scott said, we want to try to get some numbers to you guys next meeting so you can kind of see where we're going to be at. Cardio equipment, we're really looking at more leasing, just because of the wear and tear that the cardio takes. A lot of schools that have fitness centers connected to the university, what they usually do is they usually build that into their actual enrollment budget, so they are able to get new equipment every 3 or 4 years. Obviously, we're not going to have that option, so we want to probably look at leasing more so to make sure that we're going to be able to get new stuff coming in every 4 to 5 years based on the lease. Other than that, again, these are all pieces of equipment that I don't think anybody's going to argue that need to be in a facility like this. I'm obviously going to reach out to the community with surveys to see other input of equipment that we might want to get down the road. But right now, with the lead times what they are, and again, it's nothing crazy like we'll be waiting for it, but I want to make sure we get this knocked out pretty quick just to make sure we don't have a beautiful facility with nothing in it. So we're rocking and rolling on it. Does anybody have any questions on that layout video or on any of the companies that I'm utilizing right now for our equipment?
I might just mention too, Adam and I have talked quite a bit about the need for this to be a 21st century kind of a facility. So he's done quite a bit of work on the cardio equipment here and some of the neat features that I think are really kind of leading edge in terms of the cardio, not only the kind of the functionality of them as far as like, being on them and connecting to social media and TV and all these kinds of things. So there's a lot of neat stuff there and programs programs that you can get on, but also kind of the new, I guess, newer kinds of technology of treadmills and just a plethora of different bikes and spin bikes and aero bikes and all these kinds of things. So I think that's kind of some exciting stuff. So I know, Adam, maybe a little bit on those treadmills that we're kind of talking about, kind of the variety of those.
Absolutely. And again, all of that stuff, that's nothing that I need, nothing that interests me. But again, this facility is not for me. You know what I mean? I don't need all the fancy, push button, touch screen type of items on these treadmills, on this cardio equipment. I'll get my conditioning, I'll get my cardio in no matter what. But again, this is what the people want. So how far it's advanced since the last time I've really sat down with some of these reps is pretty unbelievable as far as what you can do with the consoles at each one. So again, you walk up to your treadmill, you can just hit go and just do normal treadmill if you don't want to access anything that we have options for. If you want to get on your Netflix account, if you want to get on your Facebook, every possible thing you can imagine, you can get on there, which, like it or not, people love that type of stuff, and it's going to be a big draw to a facility like this. Again, some of the other modes of cardio that we're looking at, your traditional cardio equipment, obviously want to have some stationary type of equipment with, seated recumbent types of bikes, some new steps. I don't know if anybody's familiar with new steps. New steps are a very, very popular cardio piece, kind of like almost like a stepper with arms in it. I don't know if you've ever seen them. Lake Fit, I think, they're usually at PT facilities, physical therapy facilities, just because they're very, very good with people that have knee issues. A couple of higher intensity bikes, those old Airdyne bikes, those are very, very popular now, even with the younger population with higher intensity type of training. Rowers, we actually even have a treadmill quoted that requires no electricity. It's a manual treadmill. You get on it and you can actually just start running on the treadmill just like you would be outside. You can actually increase the resistance on these treadmills too, on the manual treadmill. So it almost makes you feel like you're doing a resisted run without hooking a sled onto you. So some really, really cool stuff.
And those are the kinds that are like curved like that.
The curved
So,
treadmills,
I've
you have
watched
the slatted
a
treadmills.
lot of like at the athletic training facilities. I've seen pro athletes, they're running on these. Those are the ones that get up to about 24 miles an hour on, but really state-of-the-art kind of equipment we're looking at.
Fast as you can make them go. You know what I mean? So you're on there, you're sprinting, it's going as fast as you possibly can, a little bit safer, so it's not going to wing you off the back like some of those videos you might have seen.
And the surface on it, you were kind of telling me about.
Yeah, so they have the slatted treadmills. Again, if you've used treadmills a lot, a lot of shin splints, a lot of knee issues, depending on what type of material you have. They have these slat treadmills that are basically just a softer material. Shock absorbing almost, so very, very, very crazy how far it's came, over the last 20 years. So,
On this guide,
Yes.
Adam, the tan one, with the elevator in the upper left corner.
right
That opens out into this
where that piece is
exercise
put.
area,
Yeah.
correct?
Mm-hmm.
And is that the same then? We only have 2 levels there, so in the bottom floor, the same?
That's where it's going to open as well.
All right. So then, in order to get out to the walkway, do they have to come all the way down here to
Nope.
the
So
lower
if you look down here on the bottom of the page, kind of where those dumbbells are in the bottom left corner, there's going to be a wall up to that little second pillar there, and then right where it says walking track, those 2 archways are going to be wide open where you just walk right through to the walking track.
Okay. But will wheelchairs be on that walkway?
I hadn't.
We
Safe
can't
for 'em.
prohibit them.
No, it'll be safe for them. Oh, absolutely.
So
Yeah,
you'll
absolutely.
come out of there and then all the way over to
Yep,
here
and then
on the
just we'll have
wheelchair?
a full flow pathway so people can get through. Absolutely. Yep.
All right. And restrooms are upstairs, but if you want to shower, you go down to the locker room, obviously.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely. And then, right behind this wall here on the bottom of the page, it doesn't show you on this sheet, there's a 2,200, I think almost 2,300 square foot multi-purpose room that we're going to be able to utilize for a number of different things. So we have one in the bottom too, where there's going to be some batting cages. This one up top, obviously we're going to be able to utilize, like the other aerobics rooms that we have on the in the bottom, for group exercise, different types of classes. This big multi-purpose room up here, we're going to be able to do a lot of different things for, whether it's, more of a personal training type of studio where people can take our personal trainers can take their clients in there. For the ones that don't want to exercise out on the floor, have it open to members so they can go in there and get some stretching while classes aren't going. But you're going to be able to get some pretty major size classes in these multi-purpose facilities that are right next to this fitness center, which is pretty cool. And that little doorway will go right into it.
If I drop my big heavy weights on the floor, that's cushioned enough.
Absolutely. Yep, absolutely. That's one thing that I just talked to Scott about today, too, because when I was reaching out with some of these guys, I asked them about different flooring options and if we should look at getting different platforms, and most of the time that's just going to take up a little bit more space. Our flooring, I think, is going to be able to take care of all that. It won't be a problem. And I'll start yelling at people if they drop them too loud.
Thanks.
Can I make a comment, Mayor? Thank you. I'm a little jealous. 58 years ago, I enrolled as a freshman at Clear Lake High School, and they were trying to start a weight program, and the first weights we lifted were old tin cans full of cement with a broom handle hooking the two ends together. So, and that was down in the boiler room under near the locker rooms. But so I'm kind of flashing here and thinking I need a back to the future moment here, where we can just flip the clock back about 58 years and I can walk in there as a 14-year-old, not a 72-year-old.
There's a lot of people that would like to send you back to the future.
and I had such a great experience growing up in Clear Lake, I'd be thrilled to go. So there you go. Anyway, little levity here, but it's truly going to be an unbelievable facility for Clear Lake, Iowa, and the Clear Lake School District. So keep up the good work, and we'll all be really thrilled at the ribbon cutting there.
Absolutely. And I'll have, like I said, a little bit more details for you guys next time. We'll get the numbers for you guys and everything like that. Any other questions?
Adam, when will you start selling memberships?
That's the tough one. Well, we got to get a name of the facility ironed out first before any of that starts going. But we got our numbers kind of as far as what we want to charge and things of that nature. I'm thinking right around that Thanksgiving time, like Black Friday time, I would like to start kind of doing it from that aspect. If people want to start doing it, gift cards and gift certificates for Christmas and things of that nature, doing kind of Black Friday, maybe kickoff, something like that. I think we're really trying to get around that time frame.
And I'd say, we've kind of got some tentative figures that we've thrown around just for budgeting kind of purposes and pro formas and that sort of thing. So, we've estimated kind of the numbers that we see in various categories for memberships on that. So we've done quite a bit on that already. But like Adam said, we'll probably start looking at going public on membership sales towards that Thanksgiving timeframe.
Still with the goal to open like 1/1 of 22?
See, I think, what was the original date? I know
Well,
it
it's
was
supposed to be
December,
middle of December,
Right.
so,
It would be great. Yeah, if we can do that, I would be all about that. That would be a great time to do it, and I think that will be realistic. And again, like I said, in these meetings, that's why I wanted to go look and go with the walkthrough, because everything's going fine until it's not, you know what I mean? So I kind of wanted to see for myself, but they seem like everything's great, you know what I mean? And everything's right on schedule. They're not having problems getting any of their products, so that's a good thing. So I'm just crossing my fingers that it stays that way, and I think we'll be fine by December or January.
Hey, thanks, Adam.
Thanks, guys.
Great report. Appreciate it. Under Mayor's report, Chad, North Iowa Corridor. Welcome, Chad.
Thanks, Mayor, Council, Adam, for motivating me to want to work out. That'd be great. And I just try to keep up with the mayor and his heavy weights. But
Page 2.
no, appreciate the time, you guys. Real quick, tomorrow night we are doing our first tech talk in person in about a year and a half. So that'll be over at Lake Time Brewery. We got a cool panel with 3 interns that are in the community for the summer, and just gonna. Actually, I get to lead it. We'll be asking them questions about what brought them here, what it would take to get them to come back here, maybe long term, things like that. It'll be a really cool opportunity just to hear from what the younger professionals are looking for in a community, and hopefully show them a little bit more of what we have to offer. So we've been trying to do a lot more with intern groups that are here over the summer to connect them in and get them hopefully more open to the idea of coming back here. But that'll be tomorrow night, 5 o'clock over at Lake Time, so right across the street. Hope you can make it. I think we already had about almost 50 people signed up for that as of this afternoon, so really looking forward to that. Also, Scott referenced the distillery a little bit earlier, but 173 Degree Distillery will be having their Golden Sledgehammer, Golden Shovel event here on next week, the 29th at 4 o'clock. So certainly welcome all you guys to that. We'll be shooting you some invites also, but just have that blocked off if you have a chance to get over to that on Thursday afternoon. Really awesome company, awesome family. Looking forward to introducing them to the community a little bit more and having them talk about what they're going to do. We should have, trying to get that pina colada for you, Mayor. We'll see if we can have them prep that. Also on our side, the quarter, we have our strategic planning with our board coming up August 9th. So going to be going over a lot of things, obviously coming out of the COVID situation, what's the future of economic development in our communities look like, and really more than anything, I think honing in on our strategies, what we as an organization can be doing. I think one of the things that we always got to guard against in our kind of organizations, because everyone's trying to tie everything to economic development right now, and making sure that we stay on task, stay focused, and stay in our lane and work with our partners on those different things to make sure that we're making things happen, but also focusing our resources, because we're still a staff of 3.5. We can only do so much, right? So really looking forward to that. Had a good opportunity to meet with Debbie Durham, the state's economic development director, last week, and just talk through some things that she's seen at the state level and priorities for them. Also what we're working on with our statewide organizations on the legislative side. So good opportunity to talk to her and have her in the community. Actually, she stayed over at the Lakeside Inn, or Lake Inn. Also, I guess part of our strategic planning effort that has been going on for the last 2 months or so, we started a workforce action team to really put together just 1 or 2 key actions. I think I've mentioned this earlier, but really honing in on kind of a more direct marketing effort, as well as potential for maybe doing a little incentive program and pilot program and how to attract people and how we partner with our employers on doing that. So kind of building the framework on that. We have maybe our final meeting with that group on Friday morning to hash that out a little bit, and then again take that to our board and talk through what could that look like and what we need to invest to make that happen. So hoping to have some things to roll out on that pretty soon. But we showed the board a really cool presentation from a marketing company that we're working with on how they can really target individual people in the areas that are most likely to move to us and the professions that are most likely to be interested in our area. So looking forward to that and what it would take to make that kind of thing happen. It was kind of cool, the information they pulled for us, showing, the number of people that really moved to us from different zip codes. So a lot from Chicago, a lot from Des Moines, a lot from the Minneapolis suburbs and areas like that. So is that the areas we can shoot our information, our messaging, whether it's through web marketing, Facebook, even TV marketing now. They put together a pretty good proposal on what that could look like. So just trying to determine if we could make that work, if it was feasible, and if it'd be effective, we have the right materials to do that. So continue to move that forward. The digital economy grant program, we're looking to hear on that hopefully within the next 2 to 3 weeks. It was supposed to be 90 days after the application, which we submitted at the end of April. So we'll see how that goes. If we get good news on that, again, that was a $750,000 grant for the innovation work that we're trying to push forward along with NIAC and the Papa John Center. And finally, had a good conversation with a person that was interested in the lot here south of the Pritchards, 7.5 acres that Dean Snyder's own, right along the interstate. Don't know exactly what they want to do, but they contacted us today and we're interested in that. So we started the conversation. We're going to start seeing if that goes anywhere. But again, it's good to see the interest. And then also had a conversation today with a landowner that has about another 7 acres that are interested in using that for some housing on the south end of town. I think could be good for multifamily or some mixed use resident, not mixed use necessarily, but some residential townhome type development. So Scott, want to pick your brains about that one a little bit and see where we could go with that. So a lot of things happening, but open any questions.
Council, any questions for Chad? Interesting times.
It always.
Antique boats, Saturday, most of the day. In the morning, I went through there one time. Was there about 20-some, 22, 23? Many more than what has occurred in the past, and brings me back to On Golden Pond. I hate to be another reminiscer here, but that was a great movie that sticks up here all the time. But it was a great event and well attended the time I was there. And of course, the Noon Lions and their chicken barbecue, and the early morning group that starts at 4 o'clock and finishes at 7:30 left Flory, who headed up the group from 7:30 to 9 o'clock. He didn't have anything to do. So
Not much. I had to put that eye patch on after somebody shot me in the eye. I felt like Ralphie with Red Ryder BB gun.
You needed some basting.
I said, "My eye, you shot my eye out." He said, "Well, consider it suntan lotion."
we even scripted Mr. Long here, our Wellness Center director, and he was there bright and early in the morning, and we thank you for that. Great help at that time. I think well attended. What did we say? 3,950 chicken halves were sold, and well done. Like you said, Captain Colby really had the directions of people, and people obeyed. And I think, from what I've heard, it went through quite quickly, and nobody scowled at anything. But as a result of what I just said, this may occur now. I should have shut up anyway. This morning I talked to 55 reps from Boston Scientific who happened to be in town. They are regional reps extending all the way from Texas, Dallas, Texas, up to the Canadian border as far east as Chicago and west to Denver. And they all came here. These are regional reps. Medical reps, as I said, with Boston Scientific. And really, I said, gee, you took us over Napa Valley or Maui, and they all smiled, and they said, we really like it here. And I think that's what we need to do, is to bring people in like that to not only share our town, but the entire area. And they were bringing vendors in for food. They were at the yacht club the night before. From Starboard, from the OP, and other places in the area. So well attended. They all obviously loved Clear Lake. That was 7:30 in the morning, even though it was that early. They both expressed what a beautiful place we had, and really liked the fact that the surf is now a national landmark. So good things going on. Scott?
Just a couple of things, Mayor. Just want to remind you of the RACA ribbon cutting, I guess is what it'd be, this Thursday, the 22nd at 11 o'clock out there. And so, again, appreciation for everybody that was involved, Chad, Stacy, Council, Jeremy, everybody was all involved in that project. I think it turned out really great, so excited about the opportunity to see that facility out there firsthand. So, nice project. Going to be meeting tomorrow, Jeremy, myself, Mitch Hansen from the Sanitary District. We've been working with the airport. As I mentioned previously, the airport was the beneficiary of some significant funding from the federal government related to the COVID situation, and so they have an opportunity to make some improvements to the airport property. And one of those that we've been working on with them is the extension of the City of Clear Lake sewer system out to serve not only the terminal building, but some other properties on that. So we're going to have a review meeting with the project consultant, the engineering firm on that, as well as Mitch and from the Sanitary District, and Jeremy and myself. So excited about that opportunity. And again, of course, everyone knows the airport is served by the City of Clear Lake for water, and I think we'll soon be serving them for their municipal sewer needs as well. So in partnership with the Sanitary District. So I think that's an exciting project. And I just echo the mayor's comments here a moment ago about the Antique Boat Show at one of our former council members who's involved with that effort and that event. Expressed to me the appreciation that others involved with that had for our new dock. And, this was the first time they've had that event since we've had the new dock. And, it was so easy for them to use and user-friendly, and they just wanted to pass on how nice that was to have that dock down there. So, again, that's all I've got. So.
Great. Council, any questions, comments, Scott? Not appearing. Any other business? Meeting adjourned. Thank you all.